Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's author webinar. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anita, and I'm part of the Learning and Content Management team. Joining me from the Learning and Content Management team are my colleagues Navneetan and Nikita. We also have a few of our colleagues from Researcher Support team supporting us today with the session. So, before we begin, a few housekeeping items. If you have a question at any time during the session, during the content of the session, please use the Q&A option to send your questions directly to us, and we'll try to answer as many as questions possible today during the session itself in the Q&A channel. So please do not use the chat section. Please use the Q&A instead. And if we cannot answer all your questions, we'll reply to you directly after the session unless you post the questions anonymously. And we'll also try to cover some of the frequently raised questions today at the end of the session. And that will be done by our co-host today. So for the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I'm sharing. And you may also wish to enable the live transcripts via the bar on the bottom of your screen. So now let's take a quick look at the agenda for today. So we will start by giving you an overview of the author submission process in Editorial Manager. Please note that the steps may vary depending on journal configuration and the type of article being submitted. We'll also have a quick look at how to use the declaration tool effectively when submitting a manuscript. So Elsevier's declaration tool basically helps authors create a comprehensive statement which incorporates the ICMJE, in other words, International Committee of Medical Journal Editors Declaration Standards. And this declaration tool will produce a statement in a Word format, and that can be uploaded alongside your manuscript, and it will appear in your published article. So we will provide you a brief explanation of the various editorial statuses your submission may progress through in Editorial Manager. So that's going to be my next agenda for today. And finally, we will conclude with some information on co-authorship verification. So yeah, so that is pretty much the agenda for today. So now let's get into the Editorial Manager test site and explore the author submission process together. Please note that I'm going to be using our training site today for the demonstration purpose with dummy users and dummy submissions. So whatever you see today, it is just the dummy submissions. And the training site is actually a good replica of the live environment. So it will look slightly different from your own profile. So please don't worry if you actually don't see things today that you normally see on your screen when you log in into Editorial Manager. And this is basically because of the rights and permissions that is granted for each role, and that may vary from journal to journal. So now let's get into the Editorial Manager screen. Give me a second. I'm going to quickly share my screen and take you to the Editorial Manager page. Navneet, please, could you confirm if my screen is all clear?
Yeah, Anita, your screen
Yeah,
is very clear. Yeah.
thank you very much. And the font size is all fine, right?
Yeah, but 100% was fine. Now it's a
Okay,
little bit cut off.
maybe
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
just reduce it.
Yeah.
Think this
Thank
is
you.
fine?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Navneet.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are a new user, please always use the register button here. Do you see that? So just use this register button to link yourself with the journal. And if you're already a registered user, you can directly, if you'd like to retrieve your username, and you can actually click on this send login details button. So there is also a quick video that is actually created about how do you actually do that. So just click on this I button and you will be able to see that there is a video linked here for further guidance. So please do watch this if you need further assistance. So when you click on the send login details button, the system is going to find a matching email address. And if the system is going to find a matching email address, you will receive an email containing your username and a link to reset your password. So once you're done, once you've retrieved your username and reset the password, you can log in into your main menu. So I have now used the test credentials of an author to log in, and I'm just going to go into the main menu because I've already logged in. So I just directly clicked on the main menu. But if you're logging in for the first time, yes, you can just give in your credentials and just click on the author login. So let me just go back to the main menu. So once you're on the main menu, please always use the Update My Information tab. So you can just click on your name here, the drop down button, and you will see the Update My Information tab. Please use this to update your profile details. For example, if there is a change in institution, it is really not required for you to create a new editorial manager account, because that's going to cause a duplication if you already have account with editorial manager. So what you can do is just click here on the Update My Information tab and update your affiliation details, email ID, etc. So which will avoid having the duplicate accounts for a single journal, as I mentioned before. So that's all about the Update My Information tab. And always before submitting a manuscript, please check the journal requirements via the instruction to author link. So how do you get into the instruction to author link? When you click on this About button, you will be able to see the journal overview page as well as the instruction for author link. So please check the journal requirements via the instruction to author link every time before you go and submit a new manuscript. So these instructions will contain guidelines on manuscript word count, file requirements, and also other important information for your submission. So it is really important for you to familiarize yourself with the journal. So once you are ready and you're ready to go ahead and submit a manuscript, click on Submit New Manuscript. So here, if you see, the system will ask you, are you submitting one of the following? Because there are times that you would have initiated a submission and you would have just left it halfway because you did not want to continue at that time. So at those scenarios, system is actually going to show you all those submissions that you have initiated previously. So you can come in here and choose any of that submission which you already selected. So for your example, if you see, I have already created a test sample manuscript for the purpose of today's webinar. So I'm going to choose this one. But if you would like to just ignore and start a new manuscript, just come down to the end of the screen and you will see the button No Start New Manuscript. So you can click on that and start fresh. So now I'm going to choose this one, which I have already initiated for this webinar purpose. So I'm just going to click on Select and Continue. So now we are here in the first step, which is the article type selection. And here you could see that there is some banners popping up when you click on this article type selection, which says there is a webinar which is going to happen today. Yeah. So you will receive regular, updates on the upcoming webinars which is happening with regards to editorial manager. So when you come into this page, if there is going to be a webinar that's going to happen in the near future, you will see a banner that's coming up like this. So you can just click on the register link, which is all given here directly for your easy reference. You can just click on this and register yourself. If not, yeah, once you've done that, you can just click on this close button so that banner will disappear from the screen. So now if you're submitting to a special issue, the first step is to choose the article type. So please make sure that you choose the correct article type. So if you're going to submit a paper for a special issue, choose the correct special issue name or choose the correct article type which you're going to submit. So it can be also a regular article. It is not necessary that you will have to submit only for a special issue. So there are also regular issues that's published every month. So you can just go ahead and choose the relevant article type. And I have now selected the full length article type. And once you're done, yeah, you can actually select the proceed button. And few journals, if you see, might ask you to link to your ORCID record. So as you could see here, it says link to ORCID record. So if you'd like to do that, you can actually go ahead and link your ORCID record here. And there is also some information about what is ORCID. So you can just click on this information and know more information about that. So once you've selected the correct article type pertaining to your manuscript, click on the proceed button. So now we are here in the attach file step, as you could see. So please attach all the files you wish to include within your submission in this step. And you may actually use the browse button to access your computer's file list, or you can just drag and drop a file from your computer to attach the primary file for the submission. So now if you see, I've already selected, uploaded few the required files, which is really needed for the submission. So you could see that here. So first, primarily, you have to upload your manuscript file, which you could see here. And mandatory file types, if you see, just go up a little. And here, when you click on the select item type drop down, you would be able to see that mandatory file types are indicated with an asterisk. So if you select research data, which is really not mandatory for this journal, but in case if it's mandatory, and when you choose this, when available, you will be asked to enter URL where your data is hosted, as you could see here, and provide some additional information such as repository name here, as you could see. So these are all drop down buttons. So you can go ahead and choose a repository name and title of the data set. In future, it will also become possible for you to upload data directly into Mendeley data. So for some journals, so cover letter is mandatory. So as you could see here, for this test journal, cover letter is mandatory. Likewise, for your journal, I mean for the journal which you are submitting, few item types are mandatory. So for some journals, as I mentioned before, cover letter is mandatory. So what is a cover letter? So a cover letter is a simple brief business letter designed to introduce your manuscript to a prospective editor. And if the guide for authors does not specify, I mean, if the instruction for author does not specify what to include in your cover letter, you may wish to include some of the items which I'm going to just mention now. So, first thing, primarily specify any special considerations that should be given to the paper. And the next thing to note down here is a brief background regarding the research involved or how the data was collected. And the next thing to notice down is details of any previous or concurrent submissions. So it is also useful to provide the editor in chief with any information that will support your submission. For example, the original or confirmatory data, relevance, or topicality. So add the cover letter. So if it's mandatory, just go ahead, use the browse button and choose the cover letter and upload it here. So as you could see, I've already uploaded it here. And one of the next main thing you will have to ensure is to choose the appropriate file type for individual files from the drop down. So here, if you could see, once you've uploaded all the files, it might be, I mean, the item type might be different. So you have to make sure that the file type is correct. So if you could see, I have given it correctly now: cover letter, declaration of interest, and manuscript file. So it's all right now. And the next thing is you may also edit the description of the item, but please ensure not to use any personal identifiers. So the system will automatically order your files once you've done with the uploads, and it will order your files into the order designated by the journal. So it is really not required for you to click on the update file order. So system will automatically take care of that for you. So and the next thing I would like to highlight is about the declaration of interest. So for some journals, if you could see, declaration might be, let me just go up a little. Yeah. So declaration of interest might be a mandatory file type. So we'll explain this in more detail in few minutes, but in either event, such a statement is mandatory from an ethics perspective. So we also have a short video on how to use the declaration tool in Editorial Manager, and that is now going to be posted in the chat section for you all. So please bookmark it for your future reference. So once you're done with all the file uploads, you can just go down, check everything is right, and click on the proceed button. And one more thing which I'd like to highlight here is about the author submission process video. So we have exclusively created a video on the author submission process, and the video link is going to be now posted to the chat section for you all. So please bookmark it for your future reference. So the next thing, if you could see, is we are now here in the general information tab. So the general information tab will actually have differing requirements. So it basically depends on your journal. So it might differ from journal to journal. So you may be asked to select the region of origin, as you could see here. Select section category. So I'm just expanding one by one for easy reference. So choose the appropriate section category from the drop down, and also classifications related to your submission. I'm just going to expand that. So if you could see, you can click on add classifications and then add the classification. So I've already added the necessary classifications which is required for this submission. So once you're done with this step completely, just make sure that everything is filled in and then click on the proceed button. So now the next thing we are going to do is, if you could see that we are now here in the reviewer preferences tab. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we are here in the reviewer preferences tab. So depending on the journal's requirements, you will see different options here on the reviewer preferences tab. So you may have an option to actually go and select the required, and request an editor to handle your paper. So you can choose that from here in the drop down, as you could see. And you might also be asked to suggest potential reviewers for your submission. So click on this section, suggest reviewers, and add clicking on this add suggested reviewer button, add all the potential reviewers. And you can also, add opposed reviewer section. So opposed reviewers whom you would prefer not to review for your manuscript. So you can choose that here. Come down and add the opposed reviewers. Okay, so next, once you're done with all these steps, you can click on proceed. But one thing which I would like to highlight here is like whatever reviewers, whoever reviewers you suggest here in the suggest reviewer section, these are just preferences only. So the editor may or may not use the suggestions. So that purely depends on the editor who's going to handle your paper. So once you're done with this step, just make sure that everything is filled in and click on the proceed button. So now, as you could see, we are here in the additional information page. So this step presents you with a questionnaire which the journal uses to collect useful information. So please respond to each of these as appropriate. So just scroll down, choose, read out the section question which is given here and choose the necessary answer. And once you have answered all the questions, just click on the proceed button. So now, as you could see, we are here in the comment section. So when you progress through each step, you might also see this tick mark, which is provided here. So it says that you have actually successfully completed all these steps correctly, and now we are in the comments section. And if there is going to be any issue, and if you have missed out any mandatory requirements for the journal in any of these steps, you would see an exclamation mark here which will clearly tell that, yeah, okay, fine, there is some problem with this step. So you can just click on the step, go to that page and then complete the information and then go proceed with the submission. So now we are here in the comment section. So the comment section gives you an opportunity to enter any additional information for the journal office which you would like to mention. So please type in all the additional comments which you would like to send it to the editorial office. And once you've done that, you can click on proceed, and these comments will not directly appear in your submission. So this is just a text kind of information for the editor. So now click on proceed button. So now we are here in the manuscript data step. So the system may automatically pull some of the data from the manuscript file attached to pre-populate fields on this manuscript data step. So required fields, as you could see here, will be marked with an asterisk. Let me just show you what are all the required fields. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not able to actually show you a required field here. But yeah, if there is any required field which is available, then you will see an asterisk which will be available to this section. Whatever section particularly. And with that, you can identify that that is really required for that submission step. So you must check and verify or enter data manually. So check if the author title, the manuscript title is right. So this is pulled from the manuscript data, which you submitted in the attach file step. But if you'd like to change that, yes, you can do it here. And then just go down to the next step. And if you see here, abstract is required. So fill in all the required abstract here. Keywords. So if you could see, these are all not mandatory here, but if it's mandatory, as I mentioned before, you will see an asterisk button here. And the next important thing to note here is the author section. So please enter all the authors of the submission, including their name, current contact email address, and institution. So you can just click on this add author button and add the required authors, including their email address, institution, etc. So just to show you, okay, I'm just clicking on that button. Okay. Navneet, I hope you're able to see this small screen now.
Yeah, Anita. Yes, I'm able
Okay.
to see it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So here, if you could see, you have to fill in all these mandatory fields. First name is mandatory, last name is mandatory, email address is mandatory, institution is mandatory, and the contributor role is mandatory. So what is this institution? So as I mentioned, yeah, so you have to mention the co-author's institution, which they are studying or working on. And it is really essential to choose your institution from the drop down. So when you start typing, so the system will automatically show you a drop down where you can choose the correct institution. So it is really essential because you might be eligible for some institutional and society discounts that can definitely reduce your article publishing charges for gold open access journals. Excuse me. So just make sure that you choose the correct institution. And also, okay, I'm just going to choose this. And also, if you see the contributor roles, uh, so contributor role is definitely mandatory here. So you have to just click on this pencil button and choose the required contributor role. And one other information I would like to mention here is once you complete this manuscript, co-authors may receive an email notification from the journal. So there is a co-author verification video, FAQ video, which has been created particularly for the co-authors. And that video link is now going to be posted in the chat section for you all. So please bookmark it for your future reference. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to actually mention here. I'm just going to close this and okay, I'm going to just discard this. I'm just clicking on OK because I've already filled in the required author details. And you can also reorder the author list by dragging and dropping. Just click, drag, and drop like that. So you can just reorder the list as you want. And when all the author details are entered, then yeah, you can just go to the next step. So now if you could see, yeah, we have filled in all the required details in this step. And the next step is going to be build PDF for approval. And if you are not submitting it now, you would like to take some time, just refer everything once again, come back and submit later, use this save and submit later button. If not, you can just go ahead and click on the build PDF for approval. And before I click that, I would just like to highlight one important information here. So when you click on the build PDF for approval, few journals might actually ask you a few journals actually encourage the authors to view and select the appropriate open access publishing options during the submission process. So select the appropriate option and then proceed with the submission process. So here in the test site, we really do not have that configured. So I'm just mentioning it for your reference. So when you click on this, yeah, if your journal has that option enabled, you will be able to see the open access publishing options. So now we are ready with everything. So I'm just going to click on build PDF for approval. And we are almost done with the submission process. So yeah, so as you could see, the system has automatically routed me here to the submissions waiting for approval by author page. So there are some instructions given for you on how do you actually check and what do you all have to do before you approve your submission. So I'm just going to go down and see if the manuscript I submitted is ready. So yeah, it's still not ready. So as you could see, it might take a few seconds or minutes to get, refreshed. So I'm just gonna wait and see if this is going to refresh my page. Okay, so it's all ready now. So as you could see, I have just gotten the action items listed here. So the PDF of your submission is built and you can click on view submission to access the PDF of your manuscript. You must view the PDF to confirm that your files and information are right. And if changes are required, you can always click on the edit submission button, go back to the submission step, make any changes, and then once again come here and submit your paper. So now I'm just going to click on view submission because this is really mandatory for you to to do before you approve your submission. So the system will not allow you to approve the submission before you go and view the PDF of the submission. So I'm just clicking on view PDF. And if you could see here, it has been downloaded here. So just open up the PDF and refer it, see that if everything, all the information are right. And the next step to note down here is the ethics in publishing step. So please ensure you read, let me just go up a little. So please ensure you read the ethics in publishing and Elsevier's terms and conditions. Just click on this button here and read all these terms and conditions before you click on I accept button. So this is just to indicate that you adhere to these guidelines, Elsevier guidelines and the journal guidelines. So I'm just going to tick this, and now we are all done. So I have viewed the PDF, and if there is any requirement to edit, then I will use the edit submission option as I mentioned before. And once you're all done, you can click on approve submission. So click approve submission, and yeah, the system might ask you to authenticate, proceed with your ORCID ID or update your information. So I'm just going to go down, skip this update, and click on proceed without ORCID ID. So the system will ask you, are you sure you want to approve this submission? Click on OK if you're okay to proceed, or click on cancel button and go and edit your submission. So I'm just going to click on OK now. So yeah, the paper is getting submitted to the journal, and yes, we are finally done. Congratulations, we have submitted a paper to the journal, as you could see. So you will receive a notification saying thank you for approving the changes to the editorial office by the editorial office, and you will also receive a notification, a confirmation email. So in case if you would like to edit your submission file, you will have to contact the publishing support center, so the journal publishing support center, to update your submission file, because once you have submitted the file, the manuscript, you will not be able to go and edit the manuscript. So you have to contact the publishing support center to edit the file. So the publishing support center link will now be posted to the chat section. So you can just bookmark it. So you can also find that from any of the home page. Let me just go to the main menu and show you that small. It is not only available in the main menu, it's like available on every page. So if you could see here, there is a question mark available. So when you click on this, you can see the journal article publishing support center link. So click on this link and instantly email the publishing support center team, or you also have the chat option, which is available 24/7, as you could see. So click on this chat option, chat with an Elsevier support person, and let them know that you would really like to edit the submission and add additional details. So just give them all the details, and they will be able to do the editing process on your behalf. So if you want more information on the submission process, please watch our author submission process video. I think the co-host already posted that link for you all in the chat section. Just for your reference, it can again be posted to the chat section. So please bookmark it for your future reference. Yeah, so this is all about the submission process. And yeah, so I think we have successfully submitted the manuscript now. So this is the first part of our today's webinar. And now in this part of today's webinar, we are going to return to the submission process and look at more detail about the declaration tool. So as I mentioned before, for some journals, this is a mandatory file type. So transparent disclosure of potential competing interest is essential to meeting your ethical obligations and nurturing trust in science. So Elsevier now offers a declaration tool in Editorial Manager that quickly and easily helps authors create a comprehensive statement which incorporates the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, or ICMJE declaration standards. So this statement can be uploaded as a Word document alongside your manuscript, and it will appear in your published article. So Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the submit new manuscript button, take you to the attach file step and show where we can actually look up for the declaration tool. So I'm just going to proceed to the next step. Okay, so now we are here. So there are two ways to actually access the declaration tool link. One thing is you can actually click on the instruction for author link, and the declaration tool link will be available. Or you can just come into the attach file step, and here, if you see on the left side, there is all information which is really required for you about the declaration of interest. And when you click on this link, it is actually going to take you to the declaration form, which I've already opened it for your easy reference. So it's here. So you will be, when you click on that link in this page, when you click on this link, it's going to take you to the home page of the declaration tool. So here you can find further information about, sorry, declaring your interest. And yeah, you can just scroll down to see what is all information available here. So what are all the steps you will be filling in? So once you're ready, you can actually begin your declaration by clicking on the Start My Declaration button. So, and just to highlight that, um, some journals that I have nothing to declare button may be present. Here we did not see that, but yeah, if that journal, if I have nothing to declare button maybe is available, then you should obviously use that to directly generate a statement when you're confident you and your co-authors have nothing to declare. So for other journals, yes, as you could see, this button is available. You can indicate that you have nothing to declare in each page. We'll see that process now. So when you're ready, yeah, let's start with the declaration. So first step is, let me just go up. So we are here in the research support for this reported work. So on this first page, you declare any support you or any of your co-authors received from certain types of third parties since the initial conception of this research. So note that you don't need to list any academic institutions or public funding sources from charitable foundations or government agencies here. So you may fill in the details of the support by typing in the organization name. I'm just gonna just decrease the font size a little. So yeah, so you can type in the organization name here, and you can just type in and it will actually give you the drop down menu. So you can type that, and you can also select any relevant financial or non-financial support, as you could see here. And if you need to add another funding source, just go down and click on add another funding source. And you can actually go ahead and add how many of funding source you would like to fill in. So you can fill in. And you will also need to add who received the support. So if you could see here, it asks you for uh, filling in who received the support. So if your research did not receive any additional support that should be declared, then just go up and you can use this toggle button off and just say that, yeah, you don't have anything to declare in this page. So if you'd like to save the declaration for later and come back to it within the next 30 days, you can actually use this save declaration for later button and come back and complete it within the next 30 days. So once you've finished, click on the next other support button to proceed. Okay, so here, uh, just a second. Okay, so we are here in the relevant support page, as you could see. Let me just go down. So here you can actually fill in the organization name. I mean, who has a relationship with the organization. So all these details are available here. So describe the relationship between the author and the organization. And you can also click on declare another relationship and then fill in all these details. So once you're done, in this, filling this page, you can just move on to the next step. But if you don't have anything to declare here in this step, just click on this toggle button here and click on the next intellectual property button to proceed. So now we are here in the patents and intellectual property tab. So this page allows you to basically disclose any relevant patents or copyright licensed to you or any of your co-authors. So just go ahead and fill all the required details here. So as you could see, it asks you for the name of the author, patent information, patent title, license or assignee. And if you'd like to add another patent, you can click on here and add. So all these information are available here in this page. So this is very easily accessible and very clear. The information are very clear. And if you don't have anything to declare in this step, also just click on this toggle button off and click on the next one, which is the other activities tab. So other activities tab is the final page of the declaration tool where you can submit any further information that a reader could perceive to have influenced the work that has not been covered in any of the previous pages. So if you just go back, you can see this information is not available anywhere. So you can fill in all the required information here, or you can click on the toggle button if you really don't have anything to declare. And the final next step is, as you could see, review the declaration. So this screen will basically summarize. Let me just click on that. Yeah. So this screen will basically summarize all the information you have provided in the previous steps in each step. So just scroll down to see if everything is right. And once you're happy, you can click on submit and download. If you're really happy with the content, or if you'd like to go back, you go back and update the details. So I'm just going to click on submit and download. So here you will be offered the option to enter your email address to save your declaration statement. You will receive the same prompt if you wish to save your progress at any time while using this tool. So if you do this, you will be prompted to enter the one-time password. As you could see here, you have to click on get password and fill in the one-time password so that you can declare your declaration statement. You can also go back to this tool and download the declaration again for the next 30 days if you use this option. Alternatively, you can also click on no thanks, I want to download a declaration without saving it. So I'm just going to click on that. So now, as you could see, the declaration tool has created a document using the information I entered, which can now be uploaded to Editorial Manager as a Word document. So now let's get back to the Editorial Manager submission system. So we are here in the attach file step already. So come here and browse the declaration tool, which you just downloaded. So I already uploaded here. So if you could see the declaration document is uploaded here. Choose the correct item type. So choose declaration of interest as the correct item type. And then, you can go ahead and proceed with the submission and complete the submission. So this is how you can actually use the declaration tool to Editorial Manager. So we also have created a exclusive video on how to use the declaration tool in Editorial Manager. So that's now going to be posted in the chat section for you all. So please bookmark it for your reference. And one other thing which I would like to just highlight about the declaration tool is, let me just click on this link, come back here and show you. So so if you saved your declaration, as I mentioned in the previous step, you can also access it from the home screen of the declaration tool. So we are now here in the home screen, and you can do so by clicking on this access with one-time password. And you can actually go and access this declaration anytime within 30 days. Yeah. So that's all I had about the declaration tool today. So now we are going to go back to the presentation and continue with the rest of our agenda today. So give me a second. I'm just going to quickly go back to the presentation. Navneet, I hope the screen is all clear. Navneet, are you able to hear?
It's clear. It's clear.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's proceed with the rest of our agenda today. So tracking your submission. So as an author, once you submit your paper, how are you going to track it? So let's see what are all the steps available. Okay, so an author finishes writing his paper and submits it to the journal. So the system will show the status of the manuscript as manuscript submitted. And based on the workflow of the journal, the editorial office or editor will perform a technical check, as you could see here, on your manuscript. So they will check the manuscript word count, format, figure quality, etc. And the next step is assigning it either to the editor in chief or an associate editor for further handling. So, journals usually have multiple associate editors who are experts in a particular niche within the broader subject area. So, your manuscript will be handled by the editor who has the highest level of understanding and experience with your paper's research topic. So the status will remain with editor until the editor, I mean the editor in chief or the highest level editor, makes a decision or invites reviewers. Now, the next step is the handling editor has different action choices now. So as you could see, he or she can desk reject the paper, or he or she can go ahead and invite reviewers if they feel that this paper is really appropriate for their journal, or they might choose revise and send the paper back to the author for revision. So the editor conducts an initial screening of your paper and assesses it against several criteria such as novelty, priority, and scope. And if your paper is a better match for another journal, you may be offered a manuscript transfer. Also, it's possible that your paper does not meet some of the assessment criteria. So, what will happen then? So, the editor will reject it before even getting into the peer review stage. So, if the editor decides that your paper is a good match for another journal, they will identify two or three independent reviewers depending on the journal configuration, and then they will send the invitation to the reviewers to review your manuscript. So, what will happen next? So, let's get into that section now. So, when the editor invites reviewers, the status of the manuscript changes to under review. And then, once the required number of reviews are received and recommendations were submitted, the status of the manuscript shows as required reviews completed, as you could see here in the screen. So now the handling editor, carefully studies the review reports. It can happen that the referee reports are conflicting, in which case the editor needs to find some additional reviewers, and that might take some time. So you might wonder sometimes that, yeah, why is it taking such a long time for the editor to make a decision? So this might be the exact scenario. So the editor is just, yeah, thinking that, yeah, the referee reports are really conflicting and he or she would like to get some additional review comments. So he or she would like to find additional reviewers. When this happens, yeah, it might take some time. And when this happens, the submission will return to under review status. So the next thing is, when the editor has received the high quality feedback from the reviewers and it's all fine, then the editor will begin the decision making process and then move the status of the paper to decision in process. So the decision may need to be confirmed by multiple editors in some journals. So once it's all done, then the manuscript will move to the editor in chief account or the highest level of editor for the journal. Now, let's consider that the editor-in-chief submits his or her decision. So there are different options now for the editor. So the first one, as you could see, is revise. So the editor has requested that you will revise the submission. So you will find all the details of the changes which is really required for you to consider when submitting the revision. And the deadline for your revision will also be mentioned in the decision letter. So the next one, as you could see, is accept or reject. So the submission process is completed with either an accept or reject decision. In case of an accept decision, the manuscript will begin its production process and you will receive further information. The next one is transfer pending. So the editor has rejected your paper and suggested to transfer it. So the editor has recommended submission be transferred to another journal via the automatic transfer service, and you will be offered a transfer. So we will await your confirmation or your response before proceeding any further. The last one, as you could see, is submission transferred. So you accepted the transfer and the submission is now transferred to another journal. So we've also published a video on submission status explainer which will explain how your submission progresses after submitting the manuscript. And the link of the video will now be posted to the chat section. Please bookmark it for your future reference. So the next thing I'd like to highlight here is about the Track Your Submission service, which Elsevier has launched for more than 2000 plus journals. So it's a tracker tool. So once a journal is using this Track Your Submission tool, an email is sent to the corresponding author when the first reviewer is invited. So as you could see from the screenshot, the email contains a link. Yeah, here it is. So you could see, a link to the submission tracker landing page where the author can view the status of the review process of their submission. Note that the same link will remain active throughout the end-to-end peer review process. For example, if the paper goes on for revision, so you might have a question that, will another new link will be generated? No, the same link, the first link which you received when you initially received when the Track Your Submission link is available for your journal, then that's the same link which you're going to use throughout the submission process. So we are expecting to have the submission tracker tool, the Track Your Submission tool, available for all the Elsevier journals in the near future. So yeah, as you could see, the submission, the Track Your Submission landing tool, the landing page, I'm sorry, landing page for a submission looks as shown here. So from here, you can monitor the complete status of your manuscript. So you can see what is the current status and how many reviews have been completed, how many review invitations have been accepted, how many review invitations are sent. So you can find all these details here in this Track Your Submission landing page. So yeah, that's all about the Track Your Submission service. Now I'm going to just highlight about how do you handle fake acceptance letters. So at Elsevier, we really wanted to help all our authors to stay safe when publishing. So we are really aware that there are a number of scams in operation which seek to fraudulently obtain money from authors. So typically, these schemes take the form of emails purporting to be from a journal's editorial office, asking the authors to pay a fee. So often this request is made at the same time as announcing that the paper has been accepted for publication, even though in reality it is still in the editorial review workflow. So here are some tips on how you can actually avoid being scammed and stay safe with publishing. When publishing. So there are multiple points highlighted here, but I just want to highlight few of the important points here. So all legitimate emails from Elsevier requesting payment will only come from an at elsevier.com email address. Therefore, please delete anything that claims to come from Elsevier but does not come from such an address. And the important next point to note down is request for payments, especially if you have not chosen to publish in a gold open access journal. You should be wary of any communication requesting that you transfer money to enable publication. And the next point to note down here is in the case of gold open access journals, Elsevier will only ask for payment after your paper has been accepted for publication. Yeah. So these are few of the tips on how to handle fake acceptance letters. The next thing I'm going to touch base on is co-authorship verification. So when submitting, authors are asked to list all the co-authors of the submission. Editorial Manager Journal request co-authors confirm their co-authorship, as this helps to ensure the co-authorship includes all individuals who have made a significant contribution to the conception, design, execution, or interpretation of the manuscript. So you might have a question, how do I verify my contribution as a co-author? Because yeah, you might be one of the co-author for a submission. So how do I verify my contribution as a co-author? So request to verify may be for a new submission or a revised submission. So the journal will send co-authors an email notification, as you could see here, which includes deep links to verify co-authorship. Some journals will ask that you also register or log in to confirm your co-authorship, which will also allow you to view the status of the submission. So some journals will ask that you also register to log in to confirm your authorship, which will also allow you to view the status of your submission on the author main menu, as you could see. from the folder submission being processed. Yeah, I know the font size is really very small, but yeah, I mean, if you could just see that the submission being processed folder will be available, and that's where you can actually find the information. So depending on your journal configuration, you may also receive up to 2 reminders to verify your co-authorship. And we've also created a video on co-authorship verification. So it's basically an FAQ video. So you can just check that and clear all your doubts. And the video link has already been posted to the chat section. So please bookmark it for your future reference. So the next thing I would like to highlight here is the author guide to editorial manager. So we have an exclusive author guide created for the purpose of, for the purpose of serving the authors in a better way. So in this guide, you will find the learning pathway that include links to instructional videos and articles. And this cohesive and enlightening learning pathway will guide you through the author key tasks such as manuscript submission process, tracking manuscript status, and so on. So as you could see, there are different sections here. What is required before a pre-submission? So what is required during the submission process? What is required what is it happens when during the review process or the decision making process, how do you actually go ahead with the revision process? And there are also some additional resources that's available and linked here. So the link of the author guide is now going to be posted in the chat section for you all, so please bookmark it for your easy reference, and it's definitely going to help you all. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to quickly highlight today is about did you know section, as you could see here. So manuscript getting rejected. Yeah, that there are a lot of scenarios where the author feel that, yeah, why my manuscript is getting rejected. So what should I do? So here are some 5 insider tips to see you to success. So the path to publication often comes with challenges, and one of the most common is receiving "we regret to inform you" email. So every year, millions of researchers encounter rejection during the publication process. Luckily, there is plenty of support on offer to see you through to success. So if your manuscript has been rejected, the recent Researcher Academy webinar, there is a webinar, the which has happened, and the recent webinar has been hosted to a support page, and it'll be a useful resource. Our co-host Navneet is going to post that link for your easy reference, so please bookmark the page and just go ahead into that page and have a detailed reference for your information. So it has a lot of useful information, and I have just pasted some important insider tips here. So reflect and act on the feedback from the rejecting journal. So that's really important. And think twice before appealing the rejection. And the third one to note down is use the following resources to find a more suitable home for your paper. Refer the Scopus page. Use the journal finder of Elsevier to find better journals and find the references. Transfer offers. So as I explained to you some time back, there are a lot of transfer offers available. So just go through that and take advantage of your transfer offer. Think about how to improve your chances of acceptance next time. So these are some 5 insider tips, and the link which Navneet has posted in the chat section is going to give you a brief information about all these sections. So just go into that link and have a reference for yourself. So bookmark it also for your future reference. So thank you very much, Navneetan. And the last thing I would like to mention is about the upcoming webinars for authors. So we have preparing and submitting a revision and editorial manager webinar, which is happening on 10th of October. And there is also, again, helping authors succeed, how to submit a paper and check the status, which is, this same webinar, which is happening now. So it's happening on 24th October. So we do have sign up links for all these webinars, and Navneet is now going to post the author webinar link, the registration links, the homepage links of the author webinars. So just go ahead and bookmark it, and you can find all the upcoming webinars there with the registration link. So go ahead and sign up yourself for the session which you are available. So this is all about the upcoming webinars. And finally, so that brings us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you very much for listening to the content of today's session. So after this session, what we're going to do is we will send you some email. We'll send you an email that will contain some helpful links to the webinar recording. It might be one of the recent recording, so which you could actually listen to. So the playlist link will be sent. You can just click on that and listen to any of the recent webinar. and also some short video guides that's related directly to the topic today. So please watch out for that email. Again, a gentle reminder to please take a few moments to complete the poll, which you see on your screen before you could leave. And your answers will really, really help us deliver more webinars like this one. So, once again, thank you for joining us today and see you next time.